As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
Bravo, bros.
Good morrow, small folk, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from thy bros for everyone, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Sir Steele, joined as always by the one and only Sir Gootens. What's up, Sir Gootens?
Who the fuck are you calling small folk? It's kind of rude.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
We're small folk too, don't you worry.
Yeah, well, small folk don't call each other small folk.
Oh, what do we call each other?
I don't know. Brethren?
Brethren.
There we go.
How art thou, thy brethren?
There you
Welcome
go.
back
That's
to
way
another
better, way better.
episode.
Let's not offend people 30 seconds into this.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's do it like a minute in. But welcome back to one of the better episodes I think I've seen in years. This was exceptional. We had dragon fights. We had a lot of groundwork laid for the future. We had a lot of plans foiled already. You got to see Criston Cole look like a bitch. That was a lot of fun. All in all, 10 out of 10, no notes. How did you feel about it?
An incredible week of House of the Dragon to talk about, honestly. This was, obviously, it was 4th of July week. A lot of fireworks there. A lot of fireworks on Sunday night.
Ew.
I'd say more on Sunday night than there was all week.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We got to see a lot of dragon fighting, which we love to see. Didn't get a lot of that in Game of Thrones, obviously, but we get a lot of it in this episode. It was super exciting. We get to see where this season is sort of headed now that the wheels have fallen off. They have gone to dragons already. And once that happens, all bets are off, and we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, two things. One, order of business. If you have not joined the Brav Bros members yet, the link is in the bio. Our exclusive episode is up and running. We recapped How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It was an absolute blast, a very fun episode. So if you want to join into that, make sure you sign up. We also have our community Zoom tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to join in on the community Zoom, make sure you're signed up in advance so that you can get that link, join the fun with the bros. And the last thing, your boy right here predicted the right death. Rhaenys went down. I called it. All props to me. Well done, Steele. Nice job.
Let's not forget that I also called that.
Yeah, I called it first.
It was my that was your bold prediction, so I guess the payoff is a little sweeter.
It was.
Did we ever figure out who else you called?
I thought I called
think it was
Aegon.
Aegon, yeah.
I did call Aegon, which I almost went 2 for 2, but rule of movies, rule of TV shows, if you don't see them dead, they're probably still alive.
Yeah, he's not dead.
No, he's not. He's not. We see him in the scenes from next week. They carry him in that very willy-nilly looking thing.
I would assume that it kind of looks a bit like a baby
It
carriage.
looks like a crab trap.
Crab trap, too.
That's
Yeah,
what it
could
looked
be
like
that.
to me, like lobster
I
trap.
think that's what they carry babies in. So
Is that
when they go on the road.
oh,
instead
okay?
of, you know.
Baby Aegon. I mean, honestly, that is what he is, and we'll talk about that a lot this episode. That was my call about Aegon. Yeah, because I said he's going to get to a point where he's going to try to be like, I'm a man too, and fly off into battle. I thought it would be later than
Did you think
this.
he was going to be blackout drunk during it?
I mean, I think it's implied. The
Yeah,
kid-
he's usually blackout
he's a
drunk. That's
fucking
fair.
mess. But that was where it had been building to. If you saw his character arc up until now, he's trying to get people to take him seriously. Nobody does. Eventually, there'll be a tipping point. Genuinely thought it would be later on than this. I didn't think they would drop the hammer that early. Glad they did, because it also sets the stage for an explosive rest of the season, because we'll have another exposition episode at some point. It'll slow down eventually. But if they're leading off episode, what is this, number 4?
Yep.
If episode 4 is this heavy, that means it's just going to get better and better and better. And this is the first dragon fight. It's not even the epic dragon fight.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get an epic dragon fight this season.
You think we'll have to wait?
I think we're going to have to wait for it. I think this is going to be the huge dragon fight of season 2.
Already?
There's going to be some more. Yeah, it's,
Daemon
going to lead up to it. Damon's going to be at Harrenhall having fucking nightmares for the next 2 seasons, probably.
I disagree with that. But it is fun to watch that part of this show. And why don't we just jump right in? Because that's where we lead off, and that's Daemon in the throne room. He's standing next to the Iron Throne. He's still having these visions at Harrenhall. And young Rhaenyra is back once again. And it's unintelligible talk to begin with. But when they do start having a discussion in his dreams, she said, "You created me, Daemon, and now you're trying to destroy me." And when he decapitates her in the dream, you see the crown fall first. And I thought that was important to note, because it's this whole back and forth in his own mind, and I think that that's what this entire episode's about when it comes to Daemon. He needs to resolve things within himself before he's able to take on the next thing. And I think that that's what you're seeing in this scene. His biggest, I guess, sin thus far is how he's treated Rhaenyra, what his buildup of her when she was younger. He kind of shaped her into what she is, and now she became what he wanted. But because she got the crown instead of him, he wants to take her down at the same time. It's this weird battle within himself.
Yeah, and she goes on to say that essentially he tarnished her image in front of everybody. He changed her entire course of life just based off of what he wanted at the time. And it's this struggle between, does he love Rhaenyra or does he hate the fact that she has the throne and he doesn't, or at least the crown?
Right.
I think it's both, and I think that's the internal struggle that he's going through. Now, I have a question for you. Do you think that this is Harrenhal doing this, the demons of Harrenhal, if you will, or is it Alice Rivers, who we meet in this very next scene?
I think they leave it deliberately ambiguous. I think they lead you on to think it could be both. It could be the fact that you're in this supernatural place where Harrenhal has a history of being supernatural. At the same time, because he has his weird moral compass in there, because he is this hero/villain a lot of the times, and they even talk about that in the after show of this. But because of that, I think that this was going to happen at some point regardless. I think that because he's in Harrenhal, it is showing itself in the form of visions. And I think that the way that Alice talks later on when we get there, she doesn't even fully know. I think that she may be having a hand in it, or maybe it's his own guilt that is driving him to try. To me, it's this battle of he does know what's right and wants to do what's right. At the same time, he is self-serving. And I think that before we see Daemon really enter this fight, he has to come to terms with it or buy into being the villain. And I think that that's what we're watching. So to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know.
No, we don't really know at all. But I can tell you one thing. He's scared.
He is scared.
He is running from ghosts in his own mind, in the own hall that he claimed for himself. I know we see scenes from next week. It looks like he's repairing the castle. So maybe that'll work.
Handyman work.
Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe that's how he dies. A rock falls on him whilst building the
God,
castle.
could you imagine if that's how so anticlimactic? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what all of this does for him because obviously he's going through all of this. He went by himself to claim Harrenhal. Clearly, he's going to be outnumbered as he finds out that Sir Criston Cole is gathering a bit of a mass, heading in his direction potentially. So he is completely overwhelmed by all the things that are going on right now, and this is not a good time for a psychotic break for him.
No, but you could argue it's necessary for him to become who he needs to be to win the war.
Could be.
That's what I'm taking from it.
We'll find out.
But he wakes up because there's been a raven, Sir Strong wakes him up, and he still has blood on his hands, so he's still tripping balls when he wakes up.
Yeah.
Blinks and the blood is gone, but he's going through a lot clearly, and we find out that Criston Cole has taken Rosby, he's taken Stokeworth, so he's starting to gain an actual army. They go on to say that his army has tripled up until this point. And we also find out that the reason that Rosby and Stokeworth have decided to side with them was because of Jaehaerys' death. That was the reason.
Well, that's at least what they're
claiming.
Right. It's propaganda for sure.
Correct.
Because as we find out, there's not really a choice. Obviously, with Criston Cole, he's going in with a pretty big army. He's got enough. He doesn't have a dragon, but he's got enough to take over these smaller castles, these smaller forts, if you will, to add to his numbers. And he's giving you an ultimatum: you want to die, or do you want to join? And as soon as you join, obviously, you're going to say, well, Rhaenyra killed a baby. So that's why we did it. That's exactly why.
Yeah, it's a good cop-out. But it's also leading him down this path. He's getting a little cocky because he's plundering and pillaging every single place that he wants to. They're not really meeting a lot of force against them, honestly.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Every single time we see a check-in with Criston Cole, it's after a battle, or they just walk in and say, hey, bend the knee, and they go, okay, no problem. I think at Rosby and Stokeworth, they didn't put up a fight. I think he walked in and they signed Team Green immediately. At Darkland is the first time we see the aftermath of an actual battle. We see some people siding with Aegon. We see other people getting their heads cut off. We'll get there eventually. But before we do, we get this meeting with Oscar Tully. He's the future Lord Paramount of House Tully, and he cannot sign off on giving Daemon an army.
Yeah.
Because Grover Tully is a vegetable.
Which is really dumb. Why are you even there?
That's my whole
What
thing.
did you think was going to happen? You were just going to go and hear, you're what, like a 12-year-old kid?
You're going to talk to Daemon Targaryen?
Yeah.
You think he's going to sit there and listen to you reason why you can't sign off on a battle?
Yeah, with or without the crazy nightmares that he's going through, he's still going to sit down with you and intimidate the hell out of you. So what did you think was he might kill you just because you're I mean, essentially what we get from this is him telling the poor 12-year-old, "Hey, why don't you kill your grandfather and speed this one up a little bit so that I can get your guys?"
Smother him, bro.
And he's dead serious.
He's absolutely
What did you think
serious.
was going to happen in this conversation? Why are you there? Who told this 12-year-old to go?
No idea, but at the same time, season 1 Daemon would have fucking killed him.
Yeah.
The fact that he's hearing him out, I think, shows growth.
Yeah. Or he would have gone on Caraxes and gone over to House Tully and probably killed himself.
Just sat in front of it with the dragon and been like, I get your army now,
Yeah.
or I'm going to burn all of you to death.
Yeah.
But what this does, it just points to more instability in the Riverlands. As we know, we have House Bracken and House Blackwood are obviously split down the middle. You have the Brackens are Team Green, and the Blackwoods are essentially undecided, but we'll find out in a little bit that they do have a plan in place. But we move on from here, we get to Rhaenys and Alan. This is important, very important. And I am such a fucking idiot, and my short-term memory sucks. It takes me a minute to catch back up. But when she walks up to Alan and she's like, "Oh, I didn't know his savior was so comely," and starts like
Handsome.
petting his face, I'm like, yo, is she coming on to Alan? But I figure it out because she recognizes Alan. She goes, "Oh, you're the bastard son of Corlys. What's up, dude?"
Now, it could be Corlys or it could have been his brother. At least that's a little uncertain. It's probably Corlys, let's be honest.
Corlys.
But that would obviously point to the fact that it's Alan and Adam, which of course is important because we talked about dragon seeds last week.
Yeah, yes, we did.
People that do have blood of Old Valyria, they can have some sort of bond with dragons, and that'll be important later, of course. But it was an interesting conversation because we've seen these two interact for 2 seasons now, and there's only been love between them.
Yep.
And now here we are. Obviously, the accusations of you've got a bastard child right here. This is the one that poked you out of the water, pulled you out of the water, poked you out of the water.
Get up out of there.
Get about it. Hey, they're pirates.
Oh, yeah.
Poke.
I forget. I really wish he walked up with a peg leg. That's still
That would have been
bugging me out.
sick. Honestly, Corlys should have a peg leg after what he went through. But it's funny to me because what have we seen in the past, especially with Game of Thrones? Catelyn Stark with her bastard child.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. Alan and Adam or whoever, they'd be on the wall in like 2 weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Get the hell out of here.
But that's why Rhaenys is such a, and I think it's important because she was the queen that never was. But when you look at how she handles situations, she would have made a fantastic queen.
Yeah.
Because even in this moment, she says to Corlys, "Why don't you honor him regardless of who he is? Because you're trying to hide the fact that you have this bastard son. He saved your life."
Not to mention, both of your kids are dead. Well, they don't know if Lena is dead, and we'll find out a little bit later. But Lena is definitely dead.
Laena's absolutely dead.
So, and you're losing grandchildren left and right. What do you think's going to happen? You've got this bastard child that you can make legitimate because you are the Lord of the Tides. I assume you would probably have that kind of power, right?
He's a dragon seed.
He's a dragon seed. Just make him
Fine.
legit. Make him legit and make him your heir.
Make him a made man.
Make him a made man.
Yeah,
And don't kill him.
don't pull a Joe Pesci
No.
and whack him.
Yeah.
Make him a made man. And I think that maybe we'll get there, especially with the death of Rhaenys in this episode. Spoiler alert. I think that might change, and maybe that's why we've been introduced to Adam and Alan a few times now, is to get used to them being around, so that now that Corlys has nobody, he doesn't have anybody left. He has those two to lean on. Maybe they become a more prominent role.
Well, it goes hand in hand with the conversation that they had last week, too, where they were talking about how Joffrey has never been on the sea.
Right.
We don't have, this kid doesn't understand what the sea is like. Here you've got Alan and Adam who do know the sea.
Mm-hmm.
They have your blood. Why not raise them up?
Especially if Laenor's dead.
Yeah.
And Sea Smoke is available.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got another dragon rider.
Yep.
Potentially.
Potentially.
So that's a direction they could definitely go. But I think it's also, to your point as well here, Baela has called Rhaenys back to Dragonstone while Rhaenyra's gone. Corlys takes a dig at Rhaenyra. Where is she gone? Rhaenys defends once again. You're seeing these two at conflict once more.
Well, I think that Rhaenys knows where she is. I don't think that Rhaenyra told Rhaenys that she was going to King's Landing because she
No,
would
but
have
she's
advised against
aware.
that. She knows that she's doing something along the lines of trying to sue for peace.
She goes, trying to pull us out of this abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course she's going to defend because she's the one who gave her the idea.
I know.
Last week, she's like, "Hey, there's a couple of ravens here with your name on it. You want to read it?
Maybe you can
Maybe
figure
you
this
read a
out.
little bit, just see what happens.
Just give it a poke.
You know, don't go to King's Landing and go to like the Sept of Baelor and fucking jab her with a little knife and start talking to her.
I think she knew she was going to do that.
Yeah.
I think Rhaenys, that's what I'm saying. Rhaenys knows way more. Losing her is going to be a pivotal thing in this war because she was one of the best consultants on that council.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that's going to affect the rest of them and their decision making moving forward because she was the only one in that room repeatedly when Rhaenyra's gone that still has Rhaenyra's best interest at heart. Everyone else just argues. It's a bunch of dickheads like, my idea is better. Use the dragons, blah, blah, blah. But we move on, and we get Alicent with the Grand Maester. He drops off what I'm now calling Plan T.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, Plan T, because... but here's the thing. Criston Cole's been gone. Who's she boinking now?
No, he's only been gone for a couple of weeks.
It's Plan T. Every single time we've seen this in the past, they drink it literally the night after, day after.
Yeah, but maybe it has the same effect.
So you think that's a Criston Cole Plan T? It's not some...
Yeah, no, and I'm thankful for it, by the way, because we don't need any Criston Cole offsprings running around.
No, that guy.
Fucking haircut.
That guy needs no offspring.
Yeah,
that guy is a turd.
Yeah,
but I think it's interesting because she does ask the Grand Maester, "Do you think that Viserys really wanted Aegon to succeed him?" And the Grand Master plays dumb, smart move, but that shows she's losing restraint because the fact that she would even ask anybody else and put that out there in the
somebody on
world.
a small council, nonetheless,
Right.
who knows what's going on, and they're all grabbing for power right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really weird move, and yes, she's losing her grip, but I think that his answer is pretty telling. The fact that he didn't, say, obviously I didn't discuss matters like that with him. He didn't outright say no. He's my king. Of course, this is what he wanted. He just kind of removed himself from the situation, which, we tend to see from Grand Maesters all the time.
But that's the other part of it is we know from Game of Thrones that Grand Maesters, they play the game too. They're in it for themselves as well. They're trying to move their pieces. So offering out this information is very haphazard, and that just shows her mental well-being is not great, nor should it be.
Nope.
She's not moving very well up until this point, but we're going to see a breaking point kind of later. But moving on, we get to Dragonstone with Baela and the council, and we find out that Criston Cole's tactics of moving at night, staying in the trees, is working. They're just cruising through the Crownlands at this point, unabated. They're getting every single thing they want because Rhaenyra took the time to go to King's Landing, which, again, when you look at both sides, on one side, they are actively making moves. I feel like, and I don't know if it's going to bite them in the ass later, but Team Black has to work through all this emotional shit to get to the point of, all right, let's fucking go. You got Daemon at Harrenhall having fucking vision quests. Then you got Rhaenyra's off.
Drinking ayahuasca.
He's pulling a fucking Aaron Rodgers over here. And in the meantime, you got Rhaenyra risking her life to go, and they're just trying to be morally okay with taking a step and going to war. At some point, you might have waited too long. And I don't know if that's maybe stalemated by the battle at Rooks Rest this episode, because I don't think anyone was a clear winner there. But at the same time, I get concerned that they're moving too late.
Yeah, they're definitely moving too late, and obviously they're behind the eight ball with all of this because Rhaenyra wants to do things such as sue for peace with Queen Alicent, who is a non-factor at this point.
She really is.
Everybody else is moving on their own. You've got Criston Cole and Aemond doing things in secret. Aegon just wants to go to war all the time. So there's so much going on right now that Alicent can't control. Rhaenyra can control. So
If
the
she's
fact that you're
there.
going to go over there and try to sue for peace with her makes no sense. And it's just putting you guys even further back just because you want to make yourself feel a little bit better. But what pisses me off about this and talking about Criston Cole moving at night only, we've seen them in the woods. They're setting fires so that they can keep warm and whatnot. Dragons can't see smoke.
Maybe they're pulling a Battle of the Bulge and they're not lighting fires.
I don't know, dude.
It's not cold. It's like summer.
Yeah, it's turning to winter. It's like autumn, whatever. Either way, they're still doing, well, you still need fire to forge things. So
Sure.
maybe they're fixing armor and fixing swords and whatnot. But either way, why don't you have more dragons just kind of where they're at somewhere in the Crownlands? It's not that big of an area.
I think that points to when Rhaenyra finally returns and agrees to set the dragons loose. Goes back to what King Viserys said, where once you go dragon, you can't go back. Once
You're going to make a rhyme there.
I was trying to, and then it took too long, so I just moved forward.
Once you go dragon, this thing's a wagon. Nope.
No,
Once you go dragon, you get to shaggin'.
that's not bad. It implies something very different, but I like where your head's at. Once you Dracarys, there is no Eris.
Okay. A little high Valyrian for you. It seems
Yeah.
like you know a little bit more than Aegon does.
Yeah, poor fuck. But
You've been doing your Duolingo.
Duolingo with High Valerian. That's what I've been doing. And you can find your own No, I'm just kidding.
I bet they do have that too.
That would be kind of sick.
Yeah.
If we did a whole episode in High Valerian. I don't have the time to learn
I
that.
don't have the time to learn it, and I don't think the small folk that listen to us are going to be able to listen to
Don't
it.
call them that. Look, I'm not even, I dug my own hole. I'll sit in here. But anyway, we get to Darkland, and they fought against Aegon, and he's still, him being Criston Cole, this big bitch, is still scorned by Rhaenyra. Because he has to announce to everybody, we fight against the whore of Dragonstone.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just stop. She was a teenager.
Dude, like, just call her the false queen or something. Stop with these insults.
Yeah, it's not a good look,
They're
dude.
for you only. Nobody else cares.
You look like a petty little bitch.
Yeah.
That's what you look like.
Did you peep Sir Hightower's horse's armor in this scene?
Not.
Oh, dude, sick.
Was
I
sick.
love horse armor.
I do
I think
too.
it's really cool. So yeah, what's his name? Gwaine. Gwaine Hightower. His horse has this like really cool like chainmail over his chest and everything. It's really great.
You know what I loved?
What?
That Vhagar has just like cargo netting over his whole back. I noticed that later.
Oh, yeah.
See that? That's
Oh,
sick.
yeah.
You just climb all about Vhagar
Yeah.
as he's doing his thing. Loved that. She, my bad. I did know that.
Yep.
She, her thing. But it's nice to see that Lord Darkland is still holding it. We still have honorable men in the realm. He loses his head over it, but it's nice to see that not everyone's being a little bitch like Criston Cole.
Little upsetting that Criston Cole was able to cut his head off so cleanly.
He did get
Really hoping that he was gonna.
But here's the
He is a
thing.
really good fighter.
He's a great fighter. He is. You can't-
Haircut and all.
even with that dickhead haircut, he's still a good fighter, but that actually is what bites him in the ass, and we're going to talk about that a lot later. I have a lot to say about Criston Cole and his antics this episode, but they keep calling him the Kingmaker.
Mm-hmm. You think he put that one out there?
That's
Yeah, he definitely threw that out there. Sent a couple of ravens in different directions. We'll call me the Kingmaker. Ooh, I like that.
Kingmaker. I love that.
How did you make him? I found Aegon drunk in a whorehouse and brought him in and made him king.
That's what I do. I'm the Kingmaker.
I'm the Kingmaker.
Want me to make you king?
Cool nickname. Really cool nickname. He doesn't deserve it.
No, he absolutely doesn't. He doesn't deserve anything cool, but it's cool to see Lord Darkland call him out, to have the balls before you get your head cut off to say you're not fit for the
Well,
white.
it's going to happen either way, so.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good. Do you think you would have that wherewithal in that moment to take a dig?
Maybe.
You think?
Yeah, probably.
That would be really funny.
I would definitely take a dig, yeah.
But he does. He says you're not fit for that white cloak, and I do think that is the best way to dig at Criston Cole, is to go after his morals, because he's constantly in this state of battling. Am I doing the right thing, or am I this huge piece of shit? You are the latter, sir. Every time that push comes to shove, you take the selfish route, and that happens time and time and time again, resulting in you almost losing your king in this episode. So I love that he gets that dig in there, but he does get a raven and lets everybody know that we're headed northeast. Gwaine points out Harrenhall is west. And he snobbishly points out, he goes, I know you didn't grow up here. You grew up in Dornish, you piece of shit. But Harrenhall's that way. And he has this plan in place that him and Aemond had put together that we find out in this next scene, because we get Aegon with the council, and they know that Daemon took Harrenhall, and he yells at Larys because why have we not gone there? Why are we going to Rooks Rest? It makes no sense. Harrenhall is penniless, as Larys says. Larys knows more than Aegon does. This is what that whole scene does.
It's Larys' castle. He just doesn't want to live there because he doesn't want to get nightmares.
He doesn't want to get nightmares. He'd probably get killed if he walked in there.
Yeah.
And,
well, bad footing. He's already got a club foot. Yeah, it's
he
just
can't
not
be
gonna
walking
work.
around a wonky castle with that
No.
wonky ass leg. I wouldn't take digs at people, but fuck Larys.
Yeah.
The old club ass. But this just shows you how much more strategic every single person on the council is that's not Aegon. Because Larys, he knows what he's doing. He knows why Daemon's there. He knows why he's allowing Daemon to be there with no pushback. It keeps Daemon occupied. Daemon and Rhaenyra are separated, and everybody, without saying it, is under the same exact guise of, as long as they're not together and not united, they are not going to win this fight because they're on two separate missions.
Yeah.
Daemon's, again, he's on a vision quest. Rhaenyra's trying to figure out if she can do this morally, which is a problem. So at the time, let the Crownlands continue to be this open field that we can take whatever we want. Fuck Harrenhall.
Yeah. And there was one thing that was confirmed, actually, that I forgot to talk about. I thought that somebody was intercepting the ravens that were coming from Dragonstone to Harrenhall.
Okay.
And that's why Daemon's not reporting back. But when Alice is talking to him, she says, you haven't responded to any of the ravens. So Daemon's just over there completely ignoring them.
Because he's trying to figure out his shit.
I know, but like fucking send something back, dude.
It's really funny to see him in isolation as the world is literally burning down. And he's having these trippy dreams that he doesn't even know what's going on. But I think it's important. I think that is very important.
Yeah, I mean, he's Rhaenyra's biggest ally. Every time, and look, you can call him whatever you want. You can say he does war crimes. We love his war crimes. They're great.
Give me that Sith hood.
Give me the hood. But every time that he wants to do something and somebody says no, something bad happens. He wanted Rhaenys to go with him to King's Landing and take out Vhagar. What happened? Vhagar's still alive. Rhaenys is not. Spoiler alert.
Because of Vhagar.
Because of Vhagar. So you could have done that. And yeah, Caraxes and Meleys probably could have taken down Vhagar at King's Landing. He tried to warn Viserys about Otto. He ended up getting exiled, and Otto took over the throne for his own fucking grandchildren. So, like, every time that Daemon says something, people just write him off as, oh, Daemon, you just want to go, you're power hungry, you want to do this and that and whatever.
True.
He's right.
Yes.
He's always right.
He's always right. It's true. He does have his own dreams.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to put it.
Yep.
Yes, it's self-serving, but at the same time, he's never wrong.
No.
He has yet to be wrong.
He's not wrong. And anytime that you need him to step up, he'll step up and do something that will spiral things out of control. So sending him alone to Harrenhal makes no sense still.
Well, they didn't send him. He went to Harrenhal.
Rhaenyra sent him pretty much. Sent him away, and the only thing that
Sent
he can
him
do.
away.
Yeah.
But no,
But still, like,
that was his decision. That's important.
Maybe
That
not
was his
Harrenhal.
decision
I'm just
because
saying him not being near Rhaenyra is bad.
that is bad.
Yeah.
That is definitely bad. But this whole thing that he's on, this whole self-discovery mission, is literally to make amends with Rhaenyra in his own head. But that's why he's struggling so much. Does he want to make amends? When Alice asks him later, are you content with her being challenged for the throne right now while you sit here doing nothing? And he kind of smirks.
Yeah.
Like he's not sold on the fact yet. He's got to work through that before he's any kind of, what do you call it?
Complete?
Complete or a positive force for the army.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. But back to this scene at the council, this one's massive. And this furthers my thought that Aemond does want to be king, which is even furthered later on. But this is Aemond getting back at Aegon for the whole debacle at the brothel. This was his time to put Aegon in his place because Aegon is outwitted, outnumbered in this council. He's looking stupid already. And now Aemond lays out this entire plan why Rooks Rest is an important vantage point for them because it completely cuts off the coastline and the land for Dragonstone. And at the same time, there's a bigger plan in place here that we are not privy to, that Criston Cole and Aemond are privy to. But this whole scene, especially when he starts talking in High Valyrian, he's just shitting on Aegon, saying, you have no idea what's up. This is why we did this, because you're an idiot. You put your fucking drinking buddies as the
Yeah, what was the word that he used?
Imbecile, I believe.
No, there was a funnier, like a dig at them.
Did I write it down?
Probably not.
Damn it.
But he was talking about the drinking buddies. It was a really good insult. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, he is just absolutely clowning him in High Valyrian. Everybody's looking like we don't know, which is really funny, by the way. Why does nobody else know High Valyrian?
I was confused about that as well because every
the small
king,
council, you should know.
Especially because all the kings in the past 100+ years have been Targaryen.
Yeah.
So maybe you should take it upon yourselves to learn
a
High
couple of you.
Valyrian.
Yeah.
Maybe one. Maybe the Grand.
I mean, I know why Aegon doesn't know. Yeah, the Grand Maester should absolutely know what's going on.
Maybe he does.
He might.
Because he had a look on his face where he's kind of like, ooh, boy.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy. Aegon should definitely know it, but he didn't pay attention in class.
He got rid of all the books.
Yeah. Oh, that was such
Didn't burn them.
That was
Didn't
such
burn
a
'em. Just got
funny,
rid of 'em.
just little moment right there where it's just like, you have no clue what you're doing, dude. But in this scene, Aemond keeps hammering down this war will not be won by dragons alone, but armies with dragons behind them. Criston Cole sent word to me, and that's where Aegon, that was the breaking point, I think, where he starts to really spiral, and then it's just the nail in the coffin with Alicent in a little bit. But the fact that people are reporting to Aemond is able to stand up in front of the small council, speak on what the plan is. Everyone acknowledges it silently, like, okay, good plan. He knows what he's doing. Rooks Rest, let's go take it. It's an easy W for us. They don't know about the underlying plans that they have. But this just, all of Aegon's potential credibility, not that he had much, is now completely gone. And this is, again, Aemond's response to the brothel scene and just showing him, you want to punk me in front of a hooker at a brothel. Great, I'm going to take the small council from you.
Yeah.
I'm now in charge, bitch. Great
Pretty
move.
much, yeah. Great move.
I have a soft spot for Aemond. I got to admit.
No, I like Aemond.
There's something about him.
Yeah.
You could argue that he's mini Daemon.
He's a mini Daemon for sure. He's going to get his comeuppance. I don't like that he just keeps killing people. Nobody's going after him. Well, I guess they are kind of going after him, but they can't get to him.
That's a good point.
He's a good fighter. I have a lot of respect for Aemond.
I have a lot of respect for Aemond. You know, he had a rough childhood.
Certainly did.
People bullied him. This is
Mostly his brother.
mostly his brother, and this is what happens. Aemond forces you into battle that you're not prepared for.
Yep.
That's a mind game,
Mm-hmm.
and you played right into it. Did Aemond know?
No.
You don't think that he knew that Aegon was going to come out? Okay, I wasn't sure if that was like a little in the back of his mind. Maybe that would happen.
No, because when he did and he looked up
Oh,
while he was on the back of
smacked
Aegon, he
Aegar.
goes, fucking idiot.
Yeah, here we go. You're right. I
He
forgot
actually
about
said idiot. Yeah.
that. Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't even hear that. Okay, that's my bad. But we move on from the punking at the small council, and we get Alicent and Larys, and he said. And by the way, if you're gonna plake,
Plake.
if you're gonna take Plan T,
Throw it out.
throw it away.
Throw it away.
Why is it on the table?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Not
Especially, this is the other thing. You know that Larys has replaced your whole staff with his own
Yes.
people. Why wouldn't you be throwing it away? Like, yeah, maybe you don't think that Larys is going to show up and just get into your room, but other people will. The other people will report back to him,
And
as
see
you
it.
know. So, yeah, it's stupid.
It was dumb, and I also did not care for the fact that Larys walks into a room. He's got free reign of the. He's reading books. He's looking at
yeah.
documents, and she doesn't say a goddamn word. He's the master of whispers.
Mm-hmm.
Get him out of there. Hide your shit. Hide your books. Hide your documents. Hide your ravens. Like, hide your kids. Hide your wife. Get them
You
the
would
fuck out of
imagine,
here.
yeah, you would imagine that the Queen Regent probably has more power than him,
I would
at least with the Kingsguard.
absolutely
So, yeah, get them out.
get them out, but he's super comfortable in there, and I don't know why he's taking digs at her. Where he's like, you must be pretty worried about Criston Cole out there. And she's like, he's the king's hand. Everybody's worried. Yeah, good play there.
I think that was him trying to evoke some sort of emotion out of her to confirm, hey, that's Criston Cole's baby, isn't it?
Oh,
Just got rid of.
that's
Yeah.
just trying to take another
Yeah.
little stab at her. I do have a question because I feel like every time I hear this, they go forward and say whatever they're going to say. If I may be so bold, my queen, no one ever gets reprimanded.
Speak freely.
Yeah, like
things
may I
that.
speak freely?
Every time.
But why do they don't wait for a response? They just do it. I would
It's the old off the record trick.
correct, but at the same time, I would love one moment like if I could be so bold and they say it and then they're like, "No, you can't." Stab
Yeah,
and
that
just
would be
ice
nice.
somebody. Like Larys has got way too much power right now, and I don't care for it. He's such a little snaky bitch.
Yeah, they allowed him to get that much power though.
Absolutely,
So-
Aegon did. Him
Aegon
signing,
definitely did, yeah.
Aegon signing off on Larys was probably the worst thing they could have
Well,
done.
I mean, really, Alicent did though, because it goes back to when Viserys was still king and he was in bed the entire time, and Alicent was, as she talks later, running the kingdom
Yeah.
in her husband's stead. Larys was just going around collecting all these people and becoming what he is today. So it's her fault too. She
When-
was also selling feet picks for a couple bucks there.
yeah,
so
she was on only
only feet.
feuds. Only no, what's that word? There's an F word. God, only shit.
I don't know what you're going for. Wish I could help.
There is a word for like not a serf back in the day, but only damn it, that would have been really funny.
Surf
Yeah, like a
and
servant.
turf.
No.
Oh,
a
wow.
serf back in the day. There was an F word that was similar to like somebody of not stature, but a title. Only F. I'm gonna think of it.
Fjord.
A fjord is a land mass.
I'm just
or,
going for anything now.
No, I'll think of it.
Only fjords would be cool though. Just a
Only
nice,
fires.
like. Sure. There we go.
I'll do that.
works,
That
yeah.
wasn't it, but I'll do that just so we can move on because I'll get stuck on it. But this moment where she says, "It seems that you share Viserys' love for history." Is she searching for evidence of the Song of Ice and Fire or the prophecy to try to confirm the fact that Aegon should not have been?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So that's him saying, "I kind of know what's up. I know." Yeah, he's showing his hand.
Yeah. Do you think that the Grand Maester went to Larys, or maybe somebody that overheard the conversation told Larys, hey, she's having second thoughts about this whole thing?
Potentially, but it also brings back into play. And I even went so far as to think, if he was a warg, was he in the room when Viserys was dying? Does it go back that far? If
It
that
could be.
does ring true, and he is actually a rat, like or can take the mindset
Yeah.
of a rat and be in that room, does he know way more than? Are we going to find out in 2 seasons that he's capable of doing that and was present in that room, has known everything that's going on the entire time?
It's a possibility.
That's how deep I went with this
Yeah.
one. But he brings it up. Do you doubt his intentions, Viserys' intentions of putting Aegon on the throne? Alicent with a very, very good point here. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yep.
They're going to believe that they're right. We believe that we're right. War's here. Who gives a shit now?
Yeah.
Game's up. So this is, you just see her spiraling more and more, and the final straw is with her and Aegon in a little bit. But we get back to Daemon, and he's having visions, and he's following what we think is Aemond around. But old Patchy turns around, and it's actually Daemon.
Yeah. I don't know about this one. This one kind of
What's this alluding to?
weirded me out. I don't really. It's a bit of a stretch. I think it's that you also create, because it's
He
on the
created
heels
Rhaenyra.
of the Rhaenyra thing.
Right.
So did he also create what Aemond is?
He
And
had a
I would
hand in
say
it.
no. He has a hand in it, sure.
But there's
By
Aegon
provoking
created
him
it.
here and there, but like no.
I feel like Aegon was the reason for
Yeah.
him being the way Aemond is. And Alicent, obviously. But maybe it's saying that had Daemon stepped in more and stepped up more with Aemond, he wouldn't have turned out the way he is. Like, he could have taken on more of a fatherly figure, maybe.
Yeah, the old father uncle. He's enough of that.
He's the Funkle.
He's everybody's a funkle in this family,
That's it.
unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. This one just seemed like a bit of a stretch for me. I think
fair.
you've done enough already with the Rhaenyra thing that this wasn't necessary. You could have just had him actually have him follow Aemond.
He's going through a lot
Because
of
then it's
shit.
like, okay, this is how this is gonna play out. I'm gonna have to face Aemond at some point in time. But Matt Smith being Aemond with the eye patch is like, all right, enough.
Maybe it's just showing that he's really he's tripping balls.
He's really tripping balls. Yeah.
He took a different
Yeah.
potion from the Grand Maester, and it's this thing's been going for a week.
Yeah.
It's a bad trip. But he walks into Alice Rivers he's walking around with his sword about the castle, and this is where you start to question, okay, how much is she playing in on this? Is this all Daemon? Is it half her, half him? What is the reason for all of these visions? Now, you asked me, do I think that it's Harrenhall or do I think it's Alice? What do you think?
I think it's Alice. I think that she is probably a bit of a witch.
She's a witch of the woods.
He did at least like accuse her of being a witch, so I think
She's a barn
something-
owl.
Yeah, she's a barn owl. Yeah, okay. Whatever she said during that whole conversation did at least invoke some sort of witch reaction from Daemon. So yes, I think she is a witch, and I think she's probably doing all of this because, yeah, I mean, you could say it's Harrenhall, you could say she's slipping stuff into his food, but he's had this since night 1, and he didn't eat that night, so she's not slipping anything
That's a
into
good
that.
point. He didn't have the venison.
Yeah, but she's there. So what is she doing? Just following him while he's on these visions, and she knows there's a lot going on here.
But I mean, she goes far enough to pretty much lay out exactly what he's going through.
Yeah.
If you were questioning what this vision quest is about, she flat out tells everybody, here's what you're going through. You're trying to make amends. You're trying to figure out how to be a better person, maybe. But it must be hard to give obeisance to somebody that took your crown, right?
Right?
Are you a little happy she's
Yeah.
contested right now?
And then she pulls the old poltergeist.
Oh, yeah.
You know what happened with Harrenhall? Harren the Black actually built this on an old Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah, it's actually, they chopped out a bunch of werewood, which that's what your bed's made out of too, pal.
Maybe swap that bed out.
Yeah, but sleep on the
What
floor.
do you say? Sleep on the floor? Maybe don't sleep there. Go make a fort somewhere.
It's medieval times. People don't have comfy
You just
beds.
hop on your dragon and go like a mile away and go sleep in the woods.
We saw you sleep on a piece of straw when your Massaria was taking care of you in season 1 after you banged Rhaenyra the 1st time. So it's not like you need a comfy spot. Get out of the bed. Well, maybe he didn't know. Do you think he knew? Is the face? Oh, what if the bed has the, like, you know how the werewood has the face on
Yeah,
it?
like the back of the bed has it.
Yeah,
The headboard,
that would be sick.
baseboard.
Faceboard.
Yeah.
That-
That would be sick.
we got to check that bed. Somebody check that bed. But she pulls it, here, drink this. And he does.
I don't know why.
After seeing her put like a heart in a cup.
There was like a heart. There was some frogs ribbiting around. There was a lot of insects flying around in there, and
Like
you're just like,
licks-
yeah, I'll drink that.
Here, drink this.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't.
I turned down venison and peas the first night I was here, but I'll drink this shit.
Maybe that's implying that she does have more power than we think, or that she is pulling the strings here because he doesn't even question it. He just drinks it.
Yeah.
She goes, "You need your rest." And he doesn't
He
rest.
teleports.
He teleports to the future, and he's sitting with Willem Blackwood at the table, and he's like, "Yes, of course. What can I do for you?" He's like, "Well, you summoned me." It was a little Abbott and Costello moment.
Yeah.
Kind of funny. You need a little humor in
A
here,
little humor.
between the beheading of children and dragon fights. But
And during the droning on, when you can't really hear what's going on, Willem is talking about how his father died, or rather his uncle died. So he is the uncle to Benji Blackwood, who everybody thought last week we were going to meet Benji. That's not him.
nope,
He's still young, so we'll see him
That
in the
was
future
Davos.
at some point. That was Davos.
he's dead.
But now we have Willem, who we know from the first season. That is the one who vied for Rhaenyra's hand, as he says a little bit later in this episode, or a little bit later in this conversation. But that was a good little toss in there, like, hey, Benji Cat, he's there.
Yeah, he's
He'll,
good.
he'll be there a little bit. Yeah, I'm just holding things over for now.
Which you're right, it is because it's important, and I know it's hard in this show because there's so many names, so many people, so many houses. When they drop a line, that's for a reason.
Yep.
Try to do what I do. Write it down in a journal.
Could
It's
do that.
listen, small folk.
Yep. Small folk.
Let me tell you, this journal has saved my life watching this show because I actually know what's going on. I don't get surprised anymore.
Exactly.
It's kind of nice.
It's sort of the same thing as when Otto brought up Darren Targaryen.
Right.
We haven't seen him yet. He's somewhere else. He'll be back later. And here we go.
I told you, man, he's Fade Rotha. He
might
he's
be.
the one. He's
He
the
might
one he
be.
didn't want to wake up.
Benji probably is, but yeah.
You think Benji is?
Yeah. His name's Bloody Ben.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. What's Fade Rotha's brother's name? Or is it his cousin?
Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista. Yeah. He's Dave Bautista. The other one's The Rock. Perfect. But this whole conversation is the Blackwoods and Willem want to bend the knee to Rhaenyra, but they have some terms. Look, you go take care of House Bracken, scare the shit out of them with the dragons. We will side with you. You will have our armies. So as this is going on, and this is more to the point of, okay, he's carrying guilt, and he's trying to work through his guilt because now you see Laena walking across, and as we know, Laena offed herself via Vhagar and a little Dracarys myself. So he carries the weight of that as well because she was pregnant. They needed to do a cesarean to get the baby out safely. She didn't want to do that. Dracarys, smell you later. So he's carrying all of this guilt, and he's trying to work through this guilt. And until he does work through this guilt, he's not going to be able to perform. That's what I'm gathering from this scene.
He's got dysfunction?
Yeah, he's got Nope. I just can't. I can't think of it.
I think you were on the right track there, though.
Erectile drag function? Nope, that's still
Nope.
nope.
Whatever.
Yeah, we can't
Draconian dysfunction. Dysfunction.
Dysfunction?
Dysfunction.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is tough.
We're trailing off now.
This is tough.
I catch a niner in there.
Yeah, there's a niner in there.
Anywho, we move on and we get back to Aegon and the small council. And this is the moment. This is the most important moment in Aegon's character arc because this is the breaking point. This is what I called last week. Didn't think it would be this soon, but I knew it was going to come at some point. And, I'm not going to take full credit. We did get the scenes from this season. You see him riding into battle.
Mhm.
So it's not like it was out of nowhere, but I did think that this was going to be what was going to happen. He's going to get pushed and pushed. People are going to belittle him, make him feel like a bitch, and he wants to prove to everybody that he's not a bitch. And in this scene, he's bored. But everything happening at this small council table is of very big importance. Resources are dwindling. Vhagar's eating way too much. I'm bored. I'm out of here. He's spinning the ball around the table. But the thing that sets him off and gets him to leave the table is when they bring up Criston Cole and call him the Kingmaker. Because they do say, for all intents and purposes, Criston Cole's doing a great job. He's out there sacking every castle, getting this huge army together. He's doing great. Aemond was in here just earlier. He had a great plan. Aegon, you suck. And Aegon's fed up. So Aegon gets up and bounces from the table. You bore me. You all bore me. Again, you should probably listen. This is your army.
Yeah.
This is your army.
Try to learn a little bit, maybe.
Just-
it could work.
My whole thing with Aegon, and I get that the pride's in the way and he's also just an idiot, but a good king would just sit there and pretend at the very least. Just listen and go, I concur. One of those. Just be the guy.
Yeah.
that you're supposed to be.
It's a really weird situation because he wants the action, he wants the glory, he wants people to choose him as the king, but he's not doing anything for it.
No.
So then he overcorrects and does things that are impulsive, like hanging all the rat catchers.
Right.
So it's just going to be more of the same, and obviously he gets humbled by the end of the episode. Maybe that'll change his outlook. Probably
No,
not.
It's gonna spin
Going to
it.
be even worse, probably.
He's gonna go scorched earth. No pun intended.
Yeah. So that's going to be really interesting. But yeah, you just sit there and you listen to what they're going to say. And again, you shouldn't have gotten rid of your hand, who is the only one that's actually able to help and probably help you down the right path.
Or you could have done yourself a huge solid and appointed Aemond. But this all gets hammered home in this next scene because he goes to Alicent, and I do believe that he is searching for comfort here. I believe in this moment, this was a last-ditch effort to be like, Mommy, help, because nobody takes me seriously. Nobody wants me. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. I need love. Just give me a fucking hug, Mom. Do something.
Meanwhile, Alicent's still like kind of skulking around trying to find that Song of Ice and Fire that I've heard so much about.
Where's
It's a great story. I need to read that damn book.
But instead, and this shows that she's lost all composure. The Alicent that we saw in the first season, earlier this season, where there was a semblance of restraint, a semblance of compassion, is completely gone. And she says to him, just because you are appointed king does not mean that you're wise. It doesn't imbue wisdom, is her exact words. Yeah. And that's what he didn't need to hear. And she literally says, why don't you just shut up and listen? And maybe you'll be half the king that Viserys was. He tries to threaten, says, tread lightly, and she goes, or what? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to hang me like all the rat catchers? You're going to cut my head off? You're going to banish me? Like, what the fuck are you going to do? What would you have me do, mother? Nothing.
Yep.
Be the guy that we need you to be. Who's that? Nobody.
Nobody at all. Sit there. Go meet with the small folk.
Yeah.
Go talk to them about their sheep.
Sure.
You got to do all that stuff. Leave the people who actually prepared for this to go do their stuff. You didn't do shit.
You're much better off drinking with your buddies in the throne room.
Yeah.
That's where we need you.
Uh-huh.
Because you're just going to mess things up because of your ego. You're a hurt little boy. And this was the moment that Aegon, not needed, but the moment that set him down this path of, I'm going to show you Criston Cole, which, again, call him what you want. He's great at fighting.
Yep.
He's
doing a good job.
General.
Yep.
He is.
It is Aemon's plan, but you know.
Aemon's plan, and Criston Cole oversteps. And I love the humbling moment that we get at the end of this episode, and we'll wait for that. But we get to Criston Cole and his army, and they are at Rooks Rest, or they're on the outskirts of it in the trees, and he's planning on battling during the day. Gwaine points out why this is a ridiculous idea. That's the plan.
Yeah.
They're trying to draw out a dragon from Dragonstone because they got Vhagar waiting in the wings, laying down
camouflage.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
Yeah, I like it.
Especially when he goes, not yet, and Vhagar just lays back down. I'm like,
fucking lets out like that huff that a dog does when a dog wants to go do this or that or whatever. And you're like, no, not right now. All right.
Which I love because I also could see Vhagar being like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And just, Vhagar's old.
Vhagar is old.
And grumpy.
Aemond at least has more control over Vhagar now than he did a month ago.
With Luke.
Yeah.
For sure.
So he's figured some things out, but yeah, not really.
They're on the same page a little bit, but I love that you still have and this shows the hubris, if you will, of Criston Cole when Gwaine's like, this is not a great idea. And he's like, you scared, bro? You fucking scared,
you
dude?
Scared?
What are you, little chicken bitch? Like, and he
Gwaine's
says,
like, the last time that we went out during the day, a dragon came after us. Why would we do this?
It seems like a bad idea. I'm rational. It's even worse. I'm rational. God forbid. But we have this plan that he's not in on, so I get it. Again, we'll talk about how he overstepped in a little bit, but we get the return of Rhaenyra to Dragonstone, and the council fills her in that Darkland fell. Jace is pissed off. Where you been? We're in shambles here. We're not making moves. Criston Cole's got this big-ass army. They're headed to Rooks Rest. We're fucked. What are we going to do? Love her response. Again, I'm worried it's too little too late. The stalemate at Rooks Rest, in my eyes, it was a stalemate. Maybe set things on the right path. But she says, I inherited 80 years of peace. I needed to know there was no other way. Now I do.
Yeah.
And even Jace is cool with that answer. He's like, all right, well, what's next? And she confirms that Criston Cole's emboldened by his victories, But Criston Cole was planning on that being part of this whole thing. He wanted her to think that he's getting too big for his britches. He's trying to take Rooks Rest simply because it's an easy take, trying to draw a dragon out from Dragonstone. And she says, "You mistake my caution for weakness." This was a moment to be cautious. This was a moment to not play into the dragons, but she did. And she wants to step up and be the one to ride into battle. Thank God her counsel, while the counsel is still a little shaky, is still reasonable.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you get and that's what's so funny and I think interesting about this season. The juxtaposition of the two sides, they're doing the same exact things. They're having these pivotal forks in the road. One side's doing the logical thing, the other side's acting on emotion and anger. And you're seeing which one's going. But that's the thing. In the end, especially of this one, could you really declare a winner? So which one's better? Is acting on emotion and striking first the better move, or is overthinking the better move?
And I think it's really funny too because the council was in absolute shambles before this. And when Corlys showed up a little while ago, all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, all right, you're right. Sorry,
Sorry, Corlys.
Sorry, Corlys. Lord of the Tides is here. Everybody calm down." But yeah, I thought it was really funny that she's going through and look, you only have a few dragons. Like, yeah, you've got a couple of unclaimed ones, but like that's not going to work right now. You need to act right now if this is what you're going to do. That's what Rhaenyra says.
Yeah.
Yes, we will. Everybody thinks I'm cautious, maybe a little too cautious. I'm going to surprise them by not being cautious.
Right.
Weird. You know that this is a trap. They haven't done anything during the day the entire time that they've been in the Crownlands. So why would they be doing it now?
It doesn't take a military mastermind.
Also, they're going after the castle for one of the guys on your small council. After sacking the castle of your other maester who's on your small council. So yeah, they're trying to get you guys to act out of emotion, and you played right into their hands. But you're going through the list of people who can go, and Jace wants to go. Obviously, Jace can't go. He's never been in battle before. He's never actually flew his dragon into battle. So no, you can't go. I can't go because I'm the queen. And then when Rhaenys...
just thought you meant you, Shooter Magooter.
Me personally, I can't go. I don't have a dragon. It'd be pretty cool if it did. But Rhaenyra's going through her options, and yeah, obviously Rhaenys is the choice, but you can't be mad and say, like, no, you can't do that, and then have to, like, go back and forth with her. That's the only option left. What are you going to do, send a raven to Daemon? He hasn't answered in a month.
No, that's true, but I think that was an important moment for multiple reasons. I think, one, Rhaenys has been pretty adamant of not involving dragons up until this point, so for her to reach that point of, well, somebody has to go, obviously it can't be Rhaenyra. I'm the logical choice. I've been in battle. I know what I'm doing. I'm not scared of anything. I'm a tough motherfucker. Watch me work. Yes, she's the clear choice, but at the same time, I think not only Rhaenyra, but the rest of that room recognizes what a loss that would be, and also recognizes that she probably won't make it back from this. So her stepping up, I thought, was super important. I thought it was the only choice, as you just said.
Yeah.
Like, there was no other option there. But you're losing a massive piece very early on, and the trade-off is what? I mean, you took out one of their dragons potentially, like he's wounded, and you fucked up Aegon, who's not a factor anyway. He's actually better off being in that crab trap in God knows where than he is at the throne, because he's just fucking things up. So that's where, yes, clear choice. Yes, you need to make a move on Rooks Rest. That had to happen. Was it the right move? Should they have just let them sack it? And as they leave, now I'm playing military mastermind. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Let them take it. And then
that's the thing. And like we've seen this before, and we saw it in Game of Thrones too. Towards the end, where Tyrion goes to Casterly Rock, and they just abandon it and let it go. Like, who cares? Why do we need it? We can take it back later when we need it. You're right across the bay. You can let them take the castle with no issue. Give up whoever. And then fly across the bay later and just go take it then.
Right?
Why would you do it right when they're going? There's a lot of options here. Jumping into battle is probably not the best one, but obviously it makes for really good TV, so I'm not going to complain.
That, and maybe that was a nod to the fact that, oh shit, now she's got emotion involved.
Yeah.
Now she's making decisions instead of being more rational about it. Now she's saying, all right, fuck it, let's send a dragon. Maybe that's showing that blurred line finally where she's now more, not involved, but...
Could have also sent like 2 dragons.
There's a lot you could have done. I think that
chances are, if you really do, this is the other thing. If you think it's just foot soldiers, yeah, you send it, but there's obviously something weird about them going during the day. So you have to imagine there could be a dragon hiding around there. Maybe it's not Vhagar. That's the other problem. They are supposed to be keeping an eye on Vhagar. Vhagar's the biggest fucking dragon in the kingdom. Nobody saw this big-ass dragon
That was
leaving
my
King's
issue.
Landing and getting in there.
Not only that part, yeah, you're right.
I mean, I know Bela's back with the small council, so she's not with Moondancer, just kind of
Patrolling.
flying above, patrolling, but somebody should have seen this big-ass dragon going
Nobody
somewhere.
at Rooks Rest sees this fucking 747 flying in.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's not even, it's like one of them double-decker.
A sneak move
A
with that
sneak.
thing?
She's not even quiet.
No.
She's mad and grumpy. She's probably huffing and puffing the whole way there.
She's old as shit.
Yeah, she's groaning, trying to get, oh, God. She's got arthritis in that right
Yeah.
wing. You know how many holes are in her wings?
So many.
Yeah, come on,
How do
dude.
those things even work anymore?
I don't
How
know.
big she is.
My whole thing, that was so funny you said that. I'm like, you're telling me that fucking blimp flew in here and hid in the trees? Not far.
For how long, by the way?
Less than 200 yards away
Yeah.
from the battlefield, and not one person saw it. That was my
Well, I don't
issue
know.
as
Did you
well.
see that chain of trumpets?
I did see. Oh,
It
you
was
think
like
it's
the call to
further?
Gondor. Yeah.
I did. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't.
Could have been a little further, but still, it doesn't really make any sense.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I noticed that as well. I didn't love that part, but this is when we get to see Aegon's alone. He knocks the fucking glass off. You know he's about to go into battle. You see Jace and Rhaenyra, and Jace wants to fight, and Rhaenyra fills him in about the Song of Ice and Fire. Finally, meanwhile, the Battle of Rooks Rest begins, and Aegon flies to war or
Yeah.
to go fight.
I liked the moment between him and Sunfire.
I did too.
Cute.
It
Little
was-
boop.
Yeah, a little boop of sun. Hey man,
Poor Sunfire's like, yeah, it's just, we're going out for some sheep.
we're just gonna go for a
Gonna
quick
get a drink.
stroll. Oh yeah, you trying to show off to your friends?
Yeah.
Maybe a little
I'm into
Dracarys.
that. This is fun.
Do a little Dracarys for some ass?
Yeah.
No.
No.
We're going to fight, baby. Never been in a fight
I'm
before.
hammered.
I-
I'm gonna.
I've been drinking ale since 4 a.m. I'm lit.
It's still a DUI, by the way. Dragoning
Dragging
under the influence. Yeah.
Nice. Dracarys.
That's a full-on DWI, honestly.
Dragoning while intoxicated. Bad move.
Bad move.
We lose every time. But we get to the Battle of Rooks Rest, and Rhaenys arrives. All is going to plan for Criston Cole so far. It does not go to plan shortly, but he was planning on somebody coming across the ocean to try to join this fight with a dragon. That's why Vhagar's waiting in the wings. But as this is happening, Aegon and Sunfire come out of left field. And in that moment, when you see Aegon fly over, Aemond does not decide to get involved.
Yeah.
He wants to sit tight for a second. This is where that brain starts working for Aemond. He's like, I've got to move here. I've got to move to usurp my brother, or at least get him out of the picture.
I think it's way less. Yeah, it's way less of a usurping, more of a
Just get him out of the
fuck this
way.
dude. I just want to he'll die by himself. He's probably drunk up there. That's the only way that his dumbass would get in the battle. So yeah, we also saw him last episode when he was getting the Conqueror's armor put on when it didn't fit. He was drinking the whole time that time.
Yeah, he was.
So you got to assume that he's drunk up there flying into battle. Let him go. He's going to make a fool out of himself. He's going to get himself killed. One of the above. Either way, I win.
Yeah, you're right. And in my alcoholic brain, I'm like, I'd probably be pretty fucked up going into war. I'd probably fight better. I'd be way better. I get that liquid courage.
Yeah.
Maybe a little slower reflexes, but I wouldn't be scared at all.
It's not your reflexes. It's the dragon.
You gotta let the dragon do its work,
Yeah.
but at least fucks up Sunfire. Sunfire has no business being up there.
Yeah.
Rhaenys comes out, and is dragon blood acidic?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought it
It's
was.
essentially like hot oil.
Yeah, because when Meleys cuts open Sunfire's chest and it rains down on the soldiers, and there's like, "Wah!" That was
sick,
so fun.
Well, I love the whole thing too because we see the beginning of the battle. Obviously, it's just all men. So there's men running at men, and they're trying to fight in battle, and it's moving slow. And then as soon as the dragon shows up, the camera pans up. Everybody stops fighting.
Well, because
This is done. This is no longer our battle. There's dragons out here. We're either going to get trampled, we're going to burn, whatever's going to happen. Let's just peek up and just see what happens.
exactly, and I think that Criston Cole in this moment's like, all right, we're back on track because Vhagar enters the scene now. Now you got 3 dragons up there, and you get a real dragon fight between Meleys and Vhagar, and they do like the locked claws like eagles falling
Yeah.
down. There's fire everywhere. That was so fucking cool.
It was really cool too. And I love seeing the difference in like fighting styles too with the dragons because obviously dumbass Aegon comes in and the only word that he knows in High Valyrian is Dracarys. No, that doesn't really work against a dragon like that. This dragon's much bigger than yours and is more prepared for battle. So, of course, Meleys just kind of dips under, comes right back up, and just rips you apart.
Mm-hmm. And as Vhagar and Meleys are spinning in this like spiral of death towards the ground, they land, and Criston Cole goes down, knocked unconscious. Rhaenys flies away, and I think she knew in that moment when you see her, because she's leaving and then turns back around. And I think that she's like, this is it. I'm going to die. Let me take out whatever I can in the process, maybe get Vhagar one more time. But she kind of...
She had that moment where she can see and she's flying back towards Dragonstone. She's like, I did take down one dragon, and I'm pretty sure Aegon was on there.
Yep.
So that's pretty good. But instead of going back that way, she decided to come right back. And look, that's her. That's Rhaenys.
But right before that, a super duper important moment, if you will. We get Aemond as he's flying with Vhagar towards Meleys and Sunfire fighting. He Dracarys all of them.
Yeah.
And you could argue a few things here. Was he trying to kill Aegon, which I believe he was?
Yes.
And in that moment of Aegon falling, I'm curious what the backlash is going to be. Aegon is still the king.
He is still the king, but, and there's a moment a little bit later that we'll talk about, but I think that Aemond is very smart and very tactical with all of this. There's a battle going on below. Is anybody going to be able to know if I do this?
There's
Aemond. There's the Aemond, yeah.
Aemond 100%.
Yeah, there's 3 dragons up here. If I Dracarys both of them and they both go down, okay, I can just say that Meleys took out Sunfire and Aegon fell to his death.
100%.
Whatever, who cares?
Yeah, he knew, like, that was a calculated move in the moment where he saw an opportunity and he took it. And I think it goes back to what you said when he waited to enter the fight and then calls his brother an idiot as he flies into it. He's looking for a point where Aegon's going to either die on his own or that he can take advantage of, and we see him take advantage of it here. Dracarys says the both of them. Aegon goes falling to the earth. We're not sure if he's dead yet. And then fast forward again, we get back to Rhaenys re-entering the fight, and why she flew over the cliff will forever live in my brain.
How the fuck Vhagar hides under a cliff? What is this?
You
this
knew.
Move, by the way. Yeah, we knew. But this move, by the way, this is now twice that Vhagar comes out from underneath of cloud cover, cliff cover, whatever it is. Is this just Aemon's go-to finisher?
It works.
Let me take this big-ass Boeing 757 and just hide him under the cliff, and she'll pop right back up. Like,
if it was a Boeing, the wing would have fallen off.
That's a good point. A whistleblower would have popped up. But yeah, no, it's so funny to me that he was able to, like, obviously it's crazy and you're moving around and flying around and trying to, like, get sight of what's going on. He just sneaks away and goes and hides under the cliff. He's like, I'm gonna come up at the right time.
But you know, like, as soon as she flew towards, I'm like, fuck, don't fly towards the cliff. Like, he's gonna come right up and kill you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And you see that moment, which was weirdly touching. I don't know why. Where
No, it's very touching.
Yeah, you see
the dragons die. Even when Sunfire went down, it's like, fuck.
Yeah, I felt bad for Sunfire, especially Sunfire doesn't want to be there.
No,
her drunk dad pulled her into the fight.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. But you see Meleys look back at Rhaenys, and they kind of make eye contact. Meleys dies, and she just kind of free falls to the earth, understanding, like, yeah, here we go.
It's not like she has a parachute.
What's really cool? Dragons explode when they land on the ground.
I know. Isn't that cool?
It's so sick.
Fucking incredible. I love that happens. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, obviously, R.I.P. Rhaenys and Meleys.
Yep.
They were together for like 42 years.
Great run.
Did you see the other thing? That it was actually legitimately Rhaenys' birthday yesterday?
Was it really?
Yeah.
The
airing of,
they had
seventh day of the seventh moon or whatever. Somebody figured it out and they're like, oh yeah, that's on a Sunday this year. That's interesting. It's going to be airing. That's when she dies.
We had Father's Day when Jaehaerys was murdered.
And then the other thing that you can go back a little bit in the dragon history, which is obviously this whole show, yes, there are Targaryens fighting over each other, but it's about the dragons.
Yep.
These 2 dragons, by the way, were ridden by... Vhagar was ridden by Viserys' dad.
And Laena. So Laena is in this episode with Daemon. Laena's dragon killed her mom. Oh, wow.
Yeah, fucked. But also, what was his name? Balon. Yeah, Balon, who was Viserys and Daemon's dad, rode Vhagar. Alyssa, his wife, that's a normal name.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
Love those.
Rode Meleys. So these 2 were friends.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, big bummer.
Bummer. Vagar doesn't have friends.
Yeah, Vagar's fucking senile.
Grumpy old bitch.
Yeah, she's just out here just doing whatever.
I don't give a shit. But as Criston Cole comes to on the ground, this moment for me is super important because as he's looking around, Gwaine is now leading his army into Rooks Rest to take the castle or the keep, whatever you want to call that. Criston Cole in this moment is recognizing, wow, one, my plan probably got Aegon killed. He's not dead, but in that moment, he thinks he's dead. Two, armies don't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
When dragons enter the fight, it doesn't matter. It's nuclear war at that point. Now we're fighting with powers way beyond anything we're capable of. If there's an open field of 15,000 soldiers, it'll take a minute to wipe them all off the map. So he's realizing I am in so far over my head.
I love when he walks over to the guy sitting on the ground. He's like, "We need to go get the king." Oh shit, you just fall apart.
I wrote down the ashen knight.
The ash. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the ashen knight on the ground. He taps him on the shoulder. He just crumbles, and that was the moment of clarity for him. Where he's like, "Fuck, I am not good at this.
I cannot handle this.
Not at all. I'm not. I'm way in over my head." And Hand of the King, please no.
Yep.
And I, as Hand of the King, got the king killed potentially.
It's the same reaction that Jaime Lannister had.
Oh my God! Yes.
Drogon came over and did the same thing to his caravan.
That's a great.
It's like, holy shit, we are in over our heads. This doesn't matter. Whatever we're doing here means nothing. There's dragons.
Once the dragons decide to, or once they decide to use the dragons, it really doesn't. Now it's all about whose dragon's stronger, which dragon will survive this whole thing. Vagar's not going to die. I don't think Vagar's going to die.
Yeah, I think Vagar's going to die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought Vagar was going to let me reshape that. I think Vagar's going to outlive his rider.
Okay.
Or do they go down at the same time? Don't tell me.
Yeah, no, I actually don't know about that, but Vagar's definitely going to die. And I assume with Aemond on her back, but I'm not positive.
I don't know, man. Vagar just seems immortal to me for some reason, probably because she's so big and old. But like I said, this moment of clarity for Criston Cole, recognizing that he's not nearly as important in this game as he thought he was.
Yeah.
And then going to pick up the only person really that has any semblance of faith in him, which is Aegon. He goes over there. Aemond is bent down. That dagger.
Well, first off, Aemond had his sword unsheathed.
Yes, he did.
Like, is he going over there to finish him off?
I wish. I kind of wish it
could have been. I mean, he did put it back in the sheath, so it's like, was he going over there in case somebody was there?
Oops,
sorry. Put this thing away.
I'm just checking the blade.
How about you put that thing away when you're walking away from the brothel?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You left that thing hanging out.
You left that thing hanging out.
Come on.
Come on. You're gross.
No, but yeah, he did. He picked up the dagger, the Mick Jagger.
The Mick Dagger. Picked up the Mick Dagger.
Pick up the Mick Dagger. And yeah, I mean, what is he doing? Like, he's just staring at it. I guess that's the turning point, like the symbolism of, is this mine now?
I think so.
Dead? Because he is the next in line regardless of what happens. Mm-hmm. So presumably he'll be taking over.
You would think, yeah, at least in wait. Like, that's the thing. And there's
interim manager.
Manager of the realm, because in the scenes from next week, somebody points out there is no shortage of errors. Like, there's multiple people that could take the throne. Aemond is the most logical choice at this point. So I do think that was the passing of the torch or the Mick Dagger in that moment. And that was further to the point where, you know, I've been saying this all season that I do think he wants to be king. I don't know if that's because he wants the power or if that's a step up over Aegon where it's being like, fuck you, watch this. I'm the king now. Because
could be.
If Aegon had done what you said 2 weeks ago and had made Aemond Hand of the King, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
This would have gone a much different direction because he would have given him his flowers and he would have been like, okay, I am important to the kingdom. We do see eye to eye. Great. You just needed to give him something. But Aegon wanted to punk him in the brothel. And this is, again, what you get. You get burned by Vagar and fall down in the forest.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
So it'll be really interesting to see what happens next week and the weeks after, because if Aemond's taking over, who the fuck knows what he's going to be up to? Mm-hmm. He's going to just be going scorched earth. Aegon, we'll have to see what kind of, I guess, health he's in. He got charred up pretty bad, I think.
Charizard.
Obviously fell almost to his death. It looked like Sunfire was still alive, though, too.
I think that was...
they'll both be pretty alive. But
I think that the moment of Sunfire, like, breathing heavily and clearly injured was Aegon.
Yeah.
I think that was both the state they're in was just this burnt up mess, but they're still breathing.
Yeah, so they're still alive.
And that's my point, is he is still the king.
Yeah.
So he still has the last say in what he wants done. When he gets back to King's Landing, what does he do with Aemond? Because now he recognizes this fear that he's had in his head that one, Aemond is better than him.
Yep.
And two, Aemond wants to betray him, which is why he's been putting him down, trying to keep him in his place, which was the dumb move instead of giving him his flowers, like I said. Now that's all going to come to fruition in this moment. How's he going to handle that? Is he going to say, hey, kill him? Hey.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because in the scenes for next week, obviously the propaganda machine gets started up with Aegon is the one who killed Rhaenys and Meleys.
Right.
And here's the head of the dragon to prove it. And he's all burnt up, but he's your king, and he, went into battle for you. So I assume that'll be Criston Cole's doing, trying to spin the narrative a little bit.
Gotta be.
Is that going to piss off Aemond? Does he really care because his brother's gravely injured? And obviously it's going to be a funny situation with Aegon. Hey, you're getting credit for doing all of this. You were really drunk. You probably don't even remember it. You're probably going to convince yourself that you actually did it. But you're really hurt. And now Aemond is taking over. So that'll be interesting going back and forth with the two of them. And we can't have a whole episode without pointing out the people who read the books are pissed off again.
Oh, boy.
Always getting angry because apparently in the books they say that Aemond and Aegon are okay. That, it was actually the plan to have Aegon fly in at the same time as Aemond so that they could spring a 2-on-1 trap against Meleys and take her out with the biggest dragon that Rhaenyra has. But again, this is written by a maester who didn't know the whole story. And we find out next week that they're saying that Aegon did this.
Right.
So, yeah, of course they're going to say it's part of the plan, you idiots.
Yeah. Look, these aren't books.
No.
These are shows.
Yeah.
We don't read.
We don't read here.
Damn it.
Come on.
We watch.
We watch.
But let's get to some questions. I'm sure I actually saw earlier we got a few, so dive in.
First up from Lauren Webb 727. Does Alicent actually believe or think that people believe her plan B is for someone else? I'm just holding it for a friend.
Yeah, no. I think that's to make herself feel better. I don't know. That plan T is clearly for you.
Same concept, but from Nick Sims. Who else is going to find out about Alicent drinking the moon tea?
Somebody. Well, now that Larys knows, it's going to. I don't know. She's messy right now, man, and messy never pans out well in this show. It gives everyone's looking for an angle. Larys has leverage now. You don't want that guy of all people having leverage, especially with that foot. You know what he's going to do with that thing.
That's a good point. From Danya for president, how do you think Corlys will react? Still Team Black? That's a good question.
It's a really good question.
I think obviously he's going to be furious because everybody that keeps dying
he's
seems to
definitely
be
going to,
his
yeah. I don't think
kin.
he's switching sides because Rhaenys went on her own.
I could see him potentially. I mean, maybe not yet, but like
I could see him going rogue and
Yeah.
just doing his own thing. Maybe he goes with the free cities and pulls a crab feeder.
Yep. Oh, that's a good point.
Mm.
That's a good point. It's on the sea.
He is on the sea. Maybe he pulls the blockade. Oh, maybe he pulls. Yeah, that's my theory. Is he pulls the blockade and he fends for himself. But they're gonna have to get him back into the game to win it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, okay. I had to read this one to myself before I actually read it out loud because I didn't get it. But from Jacqueline Dean, Alicent accidentally breaking the dragon model from Viserys' Lego set.
Oh,
A nod to Aegon a nod to, I don't know who A is, accidental start to Dragon War. I guess Aegon?
no, Aemond. Who was the first
Or
one? to pull the
Aemond,
trigger?
probably, yeah.
Aemond eating.
I guess
Luke
that's
was
the first one, yeah.
one.
I guess it's kind of a nod to it, or it's just,
Well, whoever asked that, there's too many A's in this show to
Yeah.
just put an A.
can't do that.
Too many A's have dragons.
Let's assume it's just a nod to the Dragon War starting. I would say probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Or it's the House of the Dragon is
Falling.
falling apart.
that's what I took it
Could be
as.
that. From Gabby One Love, now that Rhaenys is gone, who do you think is next? Corlys, Jace, or Baela?
None of them. I don't think they're up next.
I don't think they're up next at all. I think
Out
it's
of
going to go
those
one. It's
three?
going to go 1-1. Somebody else on the other side's going to have to die.
You would think. Out of those three in the long run, who's going next? I don't think Corlys is going anywhere. I think he's going to be around for a while now that Rhaenys when the counterpart dies, usually the other one sticks around.
Yeah.
or they die in the
These books
same.
don't really.
Or they die in the
George R. R.
same.
Martin
That's a
doesn't
good
care about that
point.
shit.
I think, honestly, I think Bela. I think Bela is a little bit of a renegade.
I'm gonna go with Jace.
You think Jace is going to pull an Aegon and be like,
Yeah.
I got this and go into battle?
I think so.
What if he does that and he's good at it?
That would be awesome.
That'd be
You
sick.
need somebody to be good at this on the other
Somebody
side.
needs to be good
I mean,
at
obviously Daemon's the best at it, but like,
What I'm sick of, here's what I'm sick of. Can I tell you what I'm sick of? What's
Mhm.
grinding my gear? I don't care that Vhagar's the biggest one. She's not fast. Give me a fast dragon. Where's Cannibal Dragon? It's time for Cannibal Dragon to show up.
Cannibal Dragon cannot be trusted.
I don't trust Cannibal Dragon,
Cannibal
but
Dragon eats other dragons. I don't
I'm
think.
just sick of the fact that, like, oh, Vhagar's so big. Well, give me a really fast
What about
one.
Sheep Stealer?
The Sheep Stealer's got to be quick.
Well, the fastest one is Moon Dancer. That's Bela's
Okay.
dragon.
Then get Bela in there. Vhagar, we cannot keep going size versus size. You need to go. There needs to be a
Should've
different
teamed
angle.
up and did a 2-on-1. Just listen to Daemon for the love of God, somebody.
Somebody listen to Daemon. All right, get him off of ayahuasca so we can
I
enter the
know,
fight.
seriously.
He's gotta
Well,
get clean.
he's in the middle of a vision quest, so let's get him out of it first.
Yeah, well, he's got to. Yeah,
He's got to get through.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's taking too much time.
And one last one here from Bailey Sheridan. No question, I just hate Criston Cole.
So do we.
Same.
Yeah, he's a douche.
He stinks.
But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well,
All good.
make sure you keep tuning into these episodes. If you like them, why don't you drop us a 5-star review saying that you love the House of the Dragon recaps? We're trying to get more people tuned into these because we love recapping this show just as much as you love watching this show. So drop us a review. Let us know what you think of these episodes, and we will see you same time next week. But don't worry, we got our Bravo shows coming up this week as well. We got OC back. So we will have that episode for you literally on Thursday night. As that episode airs, you will have our episode to listen to. So other than that, Rob Bros are out of here.